Hi, today we're going to be discussing the song Guns and Ships from Hamilton, which is a 2 minute long excerpt from the musical produced on Broadway a few years ago. So, the purpose of this song is to talk about the coming battle in Yorktown, which could dictate if the war ends. Aaron Burr talks about how they have an advantage over the enemy due to their alliance with France and ally Lafayette, who was sent from the French army to aid the United States, who brings guns, ships, as well as financial aid to America. Lafayette then talks about how they still need additional help to win the battle and subsequently the war. The person who can provide this additional help is considered by the people to be Hamilton. The scene fits into the broader story of the play by being right before the Battle of Yorktown and shows once again how the coming up superpower relies on Hamilton heavily. There are various elements utilized in the musical that help to make up the craft of the scene as you would consider it, including lighting, music, movement, and audience focus, set design, costumes, and the overall narrative and characterization of the individuals. So for lighting in particular, some attempts made at showing the theme of the play would be the spotlight on Aaron Burr at the very beginning when he's talking about how it's surprising that this underpowered coming up nation has managed to take on Great Britain, which at the time is a global superpower. And kind of this spotlight on him is to emphasize the point he's making and kind of for the audience to concentrate on him and not be distracted by other things. And then when Lafayette is singing, there's a lot of flashing lights on him, kind of showing how he has an energetic personality and he's the edge that America has on Great Britain at the time. And then when the lighting turns blue, kind of giving an ominous feeling when the letter is sent and people are passing it along. And then some music attempts would be the pace of music on Lafayette's song, which is much faster in comparison to other songs in the play, kind of showing again his energetic and just nice theme that he gives off. And then some movement and audience focuses. So Lafayette moves very fast, which is kind of showing kind of more his personality is just more energetic, more hey. But then contrarily, Washington moves very slowly and thoughtfully, reinforcing his confident and strong leadership personality. And then the slowly moving letter. So the letter gets passed after the light turns blue. The letter gets passed very slowly from person to person, kind of showing how at the time the most advanced means of communication they had is what we consider in today's time snail mail. So it's very hard for the audience to kind of comprehend how slowly mail got sent at that time. So this slowly moving letter kind of illustrates how the mail actually did take a lot of time to get to Hamilton. It wasn't as fast as it is in today's advanced technology has brought us communication, faster communication. And then for costumes, so all three, Washington, Lafayette, and Hamilton, are all wearing these blue coats to kind of show how they're different than the rest of the people in the scene, as the rest of the people in the scene are kind of wearing like more bland colors to not make them stand out as much, but these three are meant to stand out wearing this accent color to kind of show their importance in the scene and in the overall history that's shown in the musical. And then there's some narrative and characterization points. So the protagonists in the scene are Washington and Hamilton and Lafayette, of course. And then the antagonist would be Great Britain, which is the enemy of the side that the three are on, which is America. And then some people are kind of portrayed as more flat or more round characters. Like more round characters would be Hamilton, where you can see his arc and kind of things he went through. But then there's some other flat characters that aren't really discussed a lot and kind of just remain the same throughout the play. So then a kind of main part of the scene that deserves to be highlighted would be the point where Washington is kind of saying stuff, and in the background people are passing the letter over this blue kind of ominous light. So this kind of shows three things: the slow communication of the time, the reliance on others, and teamwork, and how it accomplishes their goal, which is defeating the enemy. So to kind of go over those 3 points. Slow communication. Obviously, they only had the snail mail, as I discussed earlier, and it was a bad system of communication that took a long time. And then this reliance on others is kind of shown as the military relies not only on Lafayette, which is a foreign partner, but also on Hamilton. And they rely a lot on Hamilton, as Lafayette kind of shows how he doesn't think they can pull through the war without Hamilton, and Washington refers to him as his right-hand man, kind of showing they both have this reliance on Hamilton. A lot of the people at the time had this reliance. And then the teamwork is kind of showing how they need to get the communication out, to get more alliance, to get more allies, and kind of build alliances to defeat their enemy, and they can't do it on their own. So then there's also some libido and lyrical elements that are noteworthy, and these kind of contribute to the audience's understanding and the characters and the plot. So 3 of these will be repetition, metaphor, and rhyme. So I'll go over those 3. So for repetition, there's a specific point during the song where they chant Lafayette over and over again. And this is kind of repeating itself, repetition, of course, showing that they have a reliance on Lafayette and how Lafayette is important. Just going over this theme, Lafayette, Lafayette, again and again. Then for the metaphor, so in the first line of the song, it opens with, "How does a ragtag volunteer army in need of a shower somehow defeat a global superpower?" Which obviously this does not mean that the army literally needs a shower as it smells or something like that, but it's rather figurative that such an army that is just low on the global scale and kind of underpowered in comparison to other nations' armies. And then there's rhyme scheme also, like a phrase that is said by Lafayette: "Watch me engage in 'em, escape in 'em, enrage in 'em, and then he goes on. But this is said by Lafayette and kind of shows this rhyme scheme of repeating these words, engage in, escape in. They kind of rhyme to engage the audience more and kind of get them involved in the play. The structure of the song kind of goes from more energetic and enthusiastic to kind of a somber and genuine mood. As the beginning, Lafayette is chanting and people are chanting along with him. At some points, multiple people are talking at the same time, kind of showing this energetic theme. But then at the ending part, it kind of switches it up, and Washington is talking about how he really needs Hamilton, and he has much to offer him in exchange for his services. And this shows how it kind of shows how Hamilton is ready to act and play his part in the fight and aid America in defeating their enemy, Great Britain. And then there's also some global issues discussed, like slow communication, due to, at the time, technology not being as advanced as it is now, and communication lacked due to that. It simply would have been better for Hamilton to get the information as soon as he can, but communication at the time didn't allow for that, and in turn he got it when he did, but it would have been better. And this was a global issue of slow communication because no one at that time had the fast communication that we have today, just due to technology advancing. So it was an issue all around the globe, not just exclusive to America and the American army of the time. Another global issue discussed would be war and conflicts. So at the time of the play, conflicts between nations were much more prevalent. This kind of contrasts modern times, as we don't have as many wars and conflicts as that time. This is due to civilizations advancing and also alliances like NATO, the European Union, and the United Nations, which restrict modern-day nations from declaring war and making certain acts on particular countries. These didn't exist in the 1700s, which was more than 300 years ago. And there were just much more violence and conflicts between nations and developing nations at the time.